Episode 183. Qin Yan glanced at the envelope but didn't open it right away. Instead, he shot Han Li a meaningful look, then set the letter down on the table. He clapped his hands twice. At the sharp sound, an old man in a blue robe, his hair completely white, stepped into the hall. Qin Yan handed over the letter without a word. The old man immediately stepped forward respectfully, took it, examined it closely against the sunlight slanting through the hall, and finally placed it back on the table with both hands.
No issues.
The old man uttered those few words, then bowed and withdrew. His entrance and exit were both utterly silent, like a specter. Relieved, Qin Yan cast a sidelong glance at Han Li, and seeing his utterly bewildered expression, a smile crept onto his face. Without a word of explanation, he deftly tore open the letter and drew out the paper to read it closely. Seeing this, the third madam smiled warmly at Han Li, then picked up her teacup and took a sip. But before she could lift it, Qin Yan, who had been sitting and reading the letter, suddenly shot to his feet, his face a mask of utter shock.
Husband, what's wrong? Is the letter a fake?
No, the letter is genuine. In fact, it's from an elder who has shown me great kindness.
Qin Yan's expression returned to normal in an instant. He shot his beloved wife a reassuring look, then studied Han Li anew.
You are Han Li?
Old Master Qin's tone hadn't changed at all, but the third madam could sense something was off.
That's right, I'm Han Li. So, just like my grandfather said, can I stay here?
Of course you can. When I was young, I met Uncle Hui Yuan once with my father. I never thought I'd see his descendant again today. I'll treat you just like my own nephew.
Qin Yan suddenly burst into hearty laughter, his voice so loud that the nearby servants exchanged puzzled glances, wondering why their master was so delighted in the parlor.
Come, quickly, tell me about Uncle Hui Yuan's recent affairs in the Celestial Hall. No one else is to follow. I must have a proper talk with Immortal Han.
Qin Yan grabbed Han Li by the arm and dragged him toward the Celestial Gate, stopping the third madam from following. This only deepened the confusion of the already astonished third madam, leaving her no choice but to watch helplessly as Old Master Qin and Han Li stepped out through the Celestial Gate, not daring to follow. Han Li followed Qin Yan into a secluded side hall. Inside the side hall, Qin Yan wasted no time. He twisted a decorative antique vase, and a hidden chamber materialized out of the wall. Without hesitation, Han Li stepped inside. With a faint smile, Han Li followed right behind. The secret chamber was small, yet fully equipped. Not only a table and chairs, but also a 10-foot-tall sandalwood bookshelf stood within, making the restriction feel unusually formidable.
Since you were sent by Immortal Master Li, that makes you a cultivator as well. I was out of line in the main hall just now. Please don't hold it against me, Senior Han.
The moment Qin Yan closed the secret chamber door, he turned to Han Li with a respectful apology.
It's nothing. Ignorance is forgivable. Besides, this act still needs to go on.
Han Li casually took a seat at the table, his entire demeanor shifting as he regained his original carefree bearing.
Thank you for your generosity, Immortal Master.
Upon hearing this, Qin Yan only grew more respectful, standing off to the side without the slightest hint of displeasure. What were cultivators, really? Qin Yan knew all too well. They were living gods. Besides, if not for Master Li's full support, the Qin family would never have risen to such prominence. By both reason and sentiment, Qin Yan dared not show the slightest disrespect.
Patriarch Qin, please take a seat. No need to be so formal. The Immortal Master Li you mentioned is actually my master, so to the Qin family I'm not exactly an outsider.
I wouldn't dare. I'm just a mortal. How could I be so rude to an immortal master? I'll just stand here and await your orders, Immortal Han.
Qin Yan repeatedly waved his hands, refusing to sit down. This gave Han Li a moment of thoughtful pause before he decided not to press the matter further.
May I ask what brings Immortal Han to our humble home? Immortal Lee's letter only mentioned your identity, but said nothing of the matter at hand. Would it be possible for me to learn a thing or two? According to my father's dying instructions, that immortal Master Lee who did our Qin family such a great favor would only show up in person or send help if we faced a danger we couldn't handle ourselves. Could it be that our family is about to run into some big trouble again?
Han Li took in the anxious look on the Qin family head's face, considered for a moment, then told Qin Yan with sincerity.
It's like this. We received word that
Han Li, with a perfectly composed expression, recounted the possibility of the 6 demon sects targeting the Qin family in the most relatable terms a mortal could understand, laying it all out for Qin Yan. This left the old master of the Qin family utterly stunned. After a long pause, Qin Yan stammered as he asked Han Li.
So you're saying cultivators from other nations are going to target us mortals? What are we to do?
Clan head Qin, there's no need to worry. The cultivators infiltrating you this time won't have much magic power. With me stationed at the Qin estate, I won't let them succeed so easily.
A little over an hour later, Han Li emerged from the secret chamber with Qin Yan, once again looking like a country bumpkin. Back in the main hall, the clan head of the Qin family immediately ordered someone to prepare a clean residence in the rear courtyard for this junior disciple Han to stay in permanently, right in front of the third madam. Of course, the official reason was that old Master Qin wanted to properly mentor this junior, to repay the great kindness his ancestors had shown him back then. The third madam opened her mouth, but no words of opposition came out. She could easily tell that Qin Yan had already made up his mind, leaving no room for anyone to argue. And from what she could tell, there was definitely something going on between this senior disciple Han and her husband. Since Qin Yan hadn't told her the details, she naturally wouldn't do anything to risk losing favor.
The master takes this fellow disciple Han so seriously. Could he be an illegitimate son from his wilder days? Otherwise, why would he lose his composure reading that letter, and then turn so warm afterward?
This overly clever third madam was growing more and more convinced of her own suspicions. A flicker of displeasure stirred within her, but on the surface, she maintained an air of nonchalance, even drawing closer to Han Li with feigned warmth. And so, after Mr. Qin's repeated instructions, Han Li once again followed Qin Ping out of the hall to see his lodgings. This time, Qin Ping's face was no longer the stiff expression from before. Instead, he was all smiles, addressing Han Li as young Master Han at every turn, as if he had conveniently forgotten how coldly he had treated him earlier. Han Li, though his face wore an expression of flattered surprise, inwardly let out a quiet sigh.
These mortal servants, their talent for reading the wind and trimming their sails is truly masterful. The way they grovel now after their earlier arrogance, and not a hint of shame on their faces. Hard to say if they've just got thick skin or if they're long used to living this way.
Qin Ping led Han Li along the back paths, turning a couple of times, until they arrived before a quiet, secluded courtyard house. The environment here was elegant and quiet, the restrictions keeping it exceptionally peaceful. Han Li nodded to himself, finding it very much to his liking.
It seems Qin Yan went to quite some trouble to pick out a good residence for me.
Ah, young Master Han, this is your residence now. It's the finest courtyard in the Qin estate. Normally, only honored guests the master truly values get to stay here.
Han Li scratched his head, grinning like a simpleton, as if at a loss for words. Qin Ping, taking the hint, smoothly dropped the subject and moved on to something else.
Ah, young Master Han hasn't had dinner yet, has he? I'll have the kitchen send a meal over right away. Please wait a moment.
With that, Qin Ping retreated from the courtyard with a bow, then turned and walked away. Han Li watched the man disappear into the distance, then allowed himself a faint smile before turning to push open the door. The layout of these rooms suited their surroundings well, equally refined and elegant. After making a full circuit, Han Li grew more and more pleased, wondering just who had arranged this place. That Qin Ping was quick on his feet. Before long, a servant woman arrived carrying a large bamboo box with his meal. The aroma of the food made Han Li, who had been in closed-door cultivation for years, genuinely hungry. Without ceremony, he polished off several plates of restricted side dishes and a bowl of rice in one go. When Qin Ping finally arrived and saw the leftovers, he couldn't help but find it amusing. Yet, maintaining a respectful demeanor, he invited Han Li to the main hall once more. The head of the Qin family wished to introduce him to the entire household. When Han Li stepped into the parlor a second time, the room was no longer occupied by just Qin Yan and the third madam. Standing and seated, there were a good 20 or 30 men and women in all. When Qin Yan called Han Li over with the utmost warmth and had him sit beside him, the older members of the hall showed little more than a flicker of surprise, nothing too extreme. But the younger members of the Qin family, the young ladies and young masters, could no longer contain their impatience.
Grandpa, who is this person? None of us have ever seen him before. You finally called us all together. Is it just for him?
Qin Yan naturally caught the young grandson's displeasure, but he didn't even bother to give him a good look. Instead, he shot him a glare.
Step back. Who gave you the right to speak here? What do you mean by this person and that person? This is Han Li, my nephew Han. His ancestors once saved our Qin family from certain death. You will show him respect.
Qin Yan's words immediately stirred a commotion in the living room, with everyone except the third lady exchanging glances of curiosity and speculation, all eyes turning to Han Li. He, in turn, put on a perfectly timed display of unease, squirming in his seat as if sitting on a bed of nails. The young master of the Qin family, his face cycling through red and white, withdrew in silence. He never imagined that Qin Yan, who usually doted on him so much, would speak so mercilessly today, making him lose face in front of all these brothers and sisters. After this incident, the young master naturally wouldn't be harboring any goodwill toward Han Li. Of course, he wasn't childish enough to make any hostile moves toward Han Li after Qin Yan had already given his orders. After all, it was clear now that this country bumpkin held a very heavy place in his grandfather's heart, and he had no intention of losing Qin Yan's favor because of that. With that example set, the rest naturally dropped their hostile stance, instead meeting Han Li's gaze with friendly expressions. It was then that Qin Yan began introducing everyone in the room to Han Li.
This is my eldest son, Qin Ji. He manages all my business in Yujing now. Sharp enough, I'd say. That is my second son.
Han Li nodded along absently, but in his mind he was committing every single member of the Qin family that Qin Yan introduced to memory.
These are all people I need to protect.